Hey everybody, it's Jeremy with Fireplace Friday here at Flues Brothers World Headquarters. I'm in the back room in the clubhouse as I usually am on Fridays. Still in my workout gear. Had an early workout with our men's workout group this morning. Felt great. A little chillier outside, but definitely not below freezing, so it went over well. Uh, so we got two things to go over today on Fireplace Friday. Actually, three things. First one is remember our post. If you didn't watch it from last week, get on here, look for it from last week. We talked about holiday decorations this time of year on your fireplace and how you need to remove them. So you're having while you're having a fire, because you don't want those decorations to catch on fire. And it's amazing the weird things that can happen. Um, let's see here. Let me take a look. Oh, I recall. Had a unique call over the last week, and the girls called me up, and a gentleman was calling looking for a chimney cap, and it was odd the size that he was looking for and everything. So I went and saw if we had one. We had one. And I went up and explained because it was a specialty cap, and the our gal that was taking the call misunderstood, or maybe the guy didn't give adequate information, because obviously he's not in the industry, and we got industry talk versus somebody who doesn't have industry talk. And then I got to talking to him and basically found out, okay, he had moved and he had brought a unit with him. It was a direct vent unit, and he wanted to install it himself in his fireplace, and he was looking for the special cap that you need for the top, and he was asking for a certain round size and everything. It was very, very odd, the whole thing. It didn't make sense. So obviously I could tell he hasn't done this before. Of course, a lot of people, Home Depot has the motto, you can do it, we can help, and everything. We need to remember, so fireplaces are dangerous. You're putting fire in your house. So it's probably not a bad idea under certain circumstances to let professionals do these items for you. Moving a unit from a house to another house, it's not like a piece of furniture. Once you put it into a fireplace, that's part of the fireplace. So I found over time, because we've gotten these calls, we usually get a few a year, and we don't install anything that we don't sell, for a couple of reasons. Over the years, we used to install any unit, anybody, you get it online, you get it from your neighbor, you get it from a fireplace shop. We used to do all these installs for fireplace shops and everything. And we had a trend that people, once we put that unit in, a lot of them would have problems. They were missing parts. They'd end up having troubles, and then they wanted us to fix it or warranty that unit that we didn't sell. And I can't do that. So, and when we looked at it, it was a very small amount of work, and that type of job, and it wasn't worth the large amount of troubles and headaches that we were having, and the confusion with the homeowner and the frustration with both parties, because we'd put something in. I remember back in the day, Sutherland's used to sell a pellet stove, and people would go and buy it, and we'd put them in, and we'd go to fire them up, and they wouldn't work. And then I, of course, being the nice guy that I was, would dig into it, and I'd find mouse droppings in the unit, and the wiring wasn't right. So then I'm on the phone doing all this extra work that's not fair. That wasn't what I charged for. It was taking extra time, and it's just, and all because they stored this unit in their warehouse somewhere where mice were able to get to it. And we just had to give it up, especially with all the employees we have and everything. It's very hard to train how to install 100 different units. I used to have to sit and read the manual on every one of them, because all fireplaces are generally, like, that you're installing, are generally the same, but there are little quirks with them. So it's very hard to have an efficient company and kind of do anything like that. Really, if you notice, a lot of the successful companies and the successful chains, they stick to certain things, and they do a lot of it, and they do it well. Example is Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A has a certain menu. It's very simple, and they're like, I can't remember. They're like, I know the family's billionaires, and I think they're like one of the fastest growing or largest I know fast food chains out of anybody, and they're closed on Sundays. So people talk about them all the time. But the one thing that they've done extremely well is they've scaled their business, and their employees are very good at it because they aren't thrown for loops. Just like you can get thrown for loops, at your job if it's something that you don't typically do. A lot of people will pass it off and say that's not my job, or I don't have any experience in that, or what have you. Same thing trickles down to the trades. So anyways, that's my long of the short. But when I got to talking to him, he wasn't even aware that you're supposed to have a special liner kit for it and everything. And I just kind of told him, I said, look, I'm concerned that you're not sure what you need. You're after this one thing, and you haven't looked at the manual. You need to look at the manual if you're going to try to do this yourself. But honestly, you probably need to have a pro do it. Have us out for an inspection. Let us look at it. Make sure it's even viable to put it into the fireplace. And then we can guide you through that. If you're demanding to do it yourself or whatever, at least get some professional advice on it, on how to do it correctly. And if you don't want to spend that or whatever, which is just silly, make sure you're looking at the manual and doing it per the manual. But I'm telling you, I've been doing this for 22 years, and it's confusing, and you don't want to do it wrong, because that's what causes a house fire. And most all the house fires that we see, and most of the bad work we see, is either somebody every time it's usually somebody that's a novice that doesn't know any better. And I guess that's what they thought in their mind would be the right thing. And unfortunately, it wasn't the right thing. You can't get fireplace parts at big box stores. You might be able to buy a unit or maybe some pipe occasionally, maybe seasonally, but usually it doesn't have all the components you need and everything. And then people are running around to fireplace shops or chimney sweep companies if they have a brick and mortar place, which I think we're one of the only in town that has one on a major street and even has a brick and mortar shop separate from our home. And so they'll look us up online. They'll stop by and they're like, "Here, I've got this piece of pipe. Do you have any pipe?" Well, you've got to match it to the existing to that pipe. And most companies don't sell the cheap, lower grade stuff that you bought at Home Depot, Lowe's, Farm and Tractor, or whatever. So it's kind of futile to run around town looking for it. You're just wasting your time. You won't find a lot of those parts or what have you. So, anyways, moral of the story is it's probably not the best project to try yourself, and you do run a lot of risk. Kind of like doing plumbing. I don't like doing plumbing a whole lot. Water plumbing. I'm just not really good at it. And I know, can I do it? Yes, I can. And there's shark bite fittings. It helps it out and everything. But here's the thing: if I do that, I'm running the risk that I didn't get something seated right or whatever, and I could be gone, and that fitting it fails, or a piece of pipe fails or whatever, and next thing I know, I'm coming home to a flooded house. And so remember that you're taking that responsibility at the end of the day, and you can't push that off on anybody else. So if you have a pro do it, then at least you know it's going to be hopefully getting done right. And I'm not saying pros are perfect, and they do have little quirks and make a little mistakes or what have you, but in general, for the most part, I mean, for as much business that we do in a week, it's amazing how much business we do in a week. We have very little problems, but we also keep a good eye on it here, because we don't want to come back out and redo something. That doesn't make the company money. It makes everybody frustrated, including us, not only the homeowner, and we want it to be a good job the first time. So we learn from any mistake, which is very small, luckily, and we try to do better the next time. But it doesn't happen too often with your pros. So anyways, that's my little tip for the week, including make sure that you get the holiday decorations. Make sure the tree isn't too close to the fireplace opening, things that can catch on fire. Make sure that you practice using your fireplace, especially if you just had repairs done before the holiday, before you get people over the house. You know, people try to light fires fast and get stressed, then they end up smoking out the house or what have you. Make sure you're cracking a door or a window, getting opening your damper, getting that fireplace flue primed. Make sure you got an updraft before you light that thing. All right, so we got one more treat for you today. We've done this before. So this is our washers and dryers where we do our tarps. Every day we're doing clean tarps so we don't make a mess in the house. Over here, the girls like to collect all of the dryer lint. Now, we've talked about dryer lint when we do dryer vents, how important it is to do your dryer vent at your house, how important it is to make sure it's installed properly and venting properly, how important it is to make sure that you're getting all this stuff out of the fireplace. So I'm going to show you how flammable, I'm sorry, not fireplace, dryer vent. I'm going to show you how flammable this stuff is. So we've got one of our fireplaces here in the showroom. And I've already got some kindling in there and everything. I've got a fan going, if you can hear that, because we have multiple appliances into one chimney, so we put a fan so we can have that and not have 15 chimneys on the outside here. Not something you can do at your house, but in a showroom it's fine because we're totally here and we know how to engineer those things. So at any rate, here's my dryer lint. I'm going to put some in here, and I'm going to put some over to the side. I'm going to just put a bunch of it in here because I want to show you how easy it is and how fast this stuff burns. It's scary. So, all right. So I've got my handy dandy lighter. These work great for gas logs, lighting fireplaces. It's got this long end on it, so I don't have to get so close to the fire with like a cigarette lighter or a match. And I'm gonna light this up. So I'm gonna turn this camera. Okay, so we got our firebox here. That's all the lint. And I'm just gonna put this little flame. So this could just be a spark. See, I'm just gonna barely spark it and see how it's already burning. Look at that. I just lit it for a second. Look how fast it burns. And watch this. Now this stuff is great, and I've seen where customers will take like wax and make kind of almost like a candle fire starter thing. Look at that. It's so fast on when it burns, just amazingly fast. And just think, one little spark or maybe some static electricity in your dryer, and that stuff just lights up. Especially if you have a gas dryer. Gas dryers actually have a flame tube, so you got a real flame under it. You just don't see it because it's covered with it's covered by the front of the unit. So I'm gonna light some of this other stuff up. It's not gonna take much just to light these things. See, look at that, just a little spark. Let's see if I can get a little spark. Little spark. I'm trying to do two things at once here. Little spark. Boom! Look at that. It's amazing how fast. Now I'm going to shut this door because I don't want any of that stuff popping out at me. And that'll probably light my fire really quick. So amazing how fast that is. Make sure to have your dryer vent clean. It's definitely used more in your fireplace because who doesn't do laundry? I mean, heck, I know at our house sometimes we do laundry every day with 2 teenagers and a wife that goes to the gym every day, and I'm going and doing workouts, so these clothes are only one-time use because they get kind of stinky and kind of gross. So yeah, let's make sure we're safe. Let's make sure we're doing this stuff. Let's make sure we're watching our holiday decorations, and let's make sure we're using professionals when it comes to dangerous things in the house, dangerous projects in the house. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week, Fireplace Friday. Actually, next week is Christmas Eve, so I should do one. We'll see. But anyways, tune in. Thanks.